I'm Rachel Anne Goodman, professor of journalism at Cabrillo College, and today I'm happy to introduce my students from the Writing for the Broadcast Media class. They've been working hard all semester on pieces about local issues, and they're going to present them to you today, and they're also going to be doing a panel discussion about what it's like to be a college student and where they will go with their degree after college. So please welcome Denise Torres, your host for this program.
The future. It's a scary thought, especially if you're a college student. Hi, my name is Denise Torres, and today, a student from Rachel Goodman's Writing for the Broadcast Media class. Today we will be talking about what happens after we get that degree, what future struggles do we face, and what financial issues will we have in the future. Today I have with me next to me Marcus Cisneros, Julia Gallo, Jesse Deshenko, and Kendra Gedney. Okay, guys, to start off, I want to ask you guys what's your majors and how many years have you been at Cabrillo?
Cool. My major is graphic design and digital media, and I've been at Cabrillo for 2 years now.
My major is technical theater, like all the backstage stuff, and I've been at Cabrillo since the beginning of time. So 4 or 5 years.
I've been at Cabrillo for about half a semester, and I'm a high school student, so I don't have a major, but I'm planning when I go to college to major in journalism or communications.
And I've been at Cabrillo for probably like a year and a half, I'd say, and my majors are both photography and journalism.
Mine is journalism broadcasting, and I've been at Cabrillo for about 2 years. So here we go. So with your majors, what do you plan on doing once you get that degree? Like, what road do you want to go to? Like, what do you plan on doing after you graduate?
Dude, so the degree I picked, I originally wanted to do animation for film and television, right? And I realized that the industry was just very hard to get into. Not only that, but very competitive, and very much of the jobs being shipped overseas. And so what I switched over to is that I found out I have a very unique situation right here in Silicon Valley, where there's so many startups and companies focusing on design thinking, and just it's the similar design aesthetics that you learn throughout your life. And I learned throughout my career path and things like that. So I'm just going to decide to apply those sort of things towards more of the tech field than it would be the film and television field. And I feel it's a lot better of a fit. Like, I like having knowing in the back of my head that's also job security and something creative that I can do as well. So it's a win-win.
Mine's kind of squishy because I'm gonna minor in English and get a teaching credential, because when you're a theater teacher, which is the end goal, it kind of goes hand in hand. You can't just be a theater teacher. You have to be the English teacher as well. But there's also the Stagehands Union, so I could be a theater and English teacher during the year and then just do stagehand stuff over the summer. But that depends on a lot of variables, which is why we're having the panel.
Yeah, true. Jesse?
So, I have I'm a child of Russian immigrants, and I know Russian culture and I know Russian language. So with the journalism degree that I want to get, I want to try to get a job working for a newspaper or a news organization in Russia, covering Russian politics. That would be like my end goal. But as far as straight after college, I want to try to get a job for a local newspaper or something, get experience in before I do that.
Well, I've always wanted to start up my own magazine as long as I could my thing was as long as I can integrate the two things that I love writing, but I also love taking photos as well. So I always wanted to combine the two into one thing, and starting up your own magazine would just seem fun. I wanted to do something that I was more interested, instead of all these tabloid magazines or fashion magazines that are unrealistic portrayals, or magazines that are more geared towards specific interest. I just wanted to have something that like I was interested in. But actually, since taking this class, I've become really interested in broadcast media. So I'm maybe thinking about moving towards something like that, but I am still very up in the air. I have no idea what I'm going to do, so.
But you still like the idea of autonomy, right? You still like the idea that you like to create your own things.
Yeah,
and follow
I
your
would
own
love
path.
to, like, as long as I can create, that's really what I want to do. Like, I just want to, like, put something out there in the world, kind of make my mark on
Right.
something.
Goal I want to. I plan to stick to radio or just become a host in the future. Go off to LA and intern someplace and hopefully.
LA's horrible.
LA
I
is
know,
horrible.
but-
I can confirm.
Yeah, but actually with technology nowadays, maybe start up a YouTube channel and make my mark that way.
Right.
Yeah, but these are all dreams, right? We all have our own dreams, but realistically, there's only so much we can go for, you know? There's only that big stretch we can take. But
But you could make major stretches, right? I mean,
Yeah.
first people, I mean, remember when YouTube was just ridiculously big in 2013, 2012, 2011, right
Right.
there? You know, anybody can, even in this room right here, you know, we have these TriCasters, we have these cameras and all this and that, right? All these gadgets can be fixated with things way smaller. You can do your own YouTube channel on your iPhone if you wanted to.
That's true.
An upgraded level, you can get a, you know, a TriCaster, get some pirated software and whatnot, and hook it up to your camera and make your own news show and whatnot online. But there's so many things. So, yeah, I do agree that, you know, there's only so much we can do, but there's only so much that we've been exposed to or that we can, you know, really think about doing ourselves or that we realize our potential can be. Things like that. So, yeah.
Well, I feel like we're always like told that unless you're like a business major or like math major or like, you know, software engineer, something like that, then you're not going to be able to get a job after college. That's like what we're told. Like, this is what's in demand, and if you don't do this, then you're not going to be successful. And I think that's like not a good way to look at things, because if everybody was, you know, like a math major, everybody did business, or everybody did like software engineers, then we wouldn't have any jobs. And those jobs are pretty in high demand at this point, but if everybody was trying to get those jobs, we'd have the same problem. And I feel a lot of people try and kind of put down other people's, like, what they're trying to do. They're like, oh, well, you're not going to be able to get a job in that, so what's the point? And I think that's, like, one of the major problems with going to school these days, because it's like if you don't get a good major, supposedly, then you're not going to go anywhere in life. So I just think that's a really, like, negative way to look at the issue.
I actually completely agree with that. Like, personally, I believe that if you're passionate about something in life and you want to do it, then you should follow through. And if you work hard enough, you can make it, no matter the obstacles. For the most part, maybe sometimes you can't, but like for the most part, you can. And like that's what I want to do. Some people might tell me that like trying to work for like the New York Times might be ridiculous, but I want to try at least to do it, because I don't want to be stuck in a job where I don't care about it and I'm just trying to live day-to-day life.
There's also, like, if everyone goes into software engineering or business or whatever, like you said, there wouldn't be any jobs, but there also wouldn't be, like, there wouldn't be TV. There wouldn't be radio. There wouldn't be theater. If everyone does one thing, no one's going to have anything to do outside of their job. So everyone's going to be, like, bored. So the arts majors are the ones that are keeping the software engineers and the business majors entertained, and like that's valuable too. Like, thankfully I haven't experienced any pushback from my family, because I come from a family of hippies who are all really creative, but I hear tons of my friends that are like, oh yeah, I'm going to business school because my family wants me to blah blah blah, and it's like, but you're amazing. You can dance like nobody's business, or you are like an actor that makes me cry. Why are you in business school? Because my family, blah, blah, blah. I want to be able to support, like, you can support it and you support yourself and still do what you love. Because there's this stigma of you have to be pushed to do something that's worthwhile, but there's also the, oh, do what you love sort of people. And you have to pick sometimes, because if you love software engineering, perfect. You're golden.
Yeah.
But if you love abstract art pieces that belong at Burning Man, people are going to be like, well, you should get a business degree. Like, it's just the dichotomy of it.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I started off going to school to become a pharmacist, medical field, makes money. I would be balling, or like I would make money
Switched to
basically.
180 completely, man.
Yeah, and then I just was not feeling it. It was so not me. So I decided to go into the broadcasting media type or road. So, because it makes me happy. And I know realistically, obviously, like my parents, they would rather me go to medical school and become a pharmacist, become a doctor, but my heart is just not in it. I would like to become creative and make my mark that way. So, and financially, I wasted some time like going into other classes. I wasted some money, I wasted my time, and financially it was a little hit, but I just have to come back from it. And have you guys faced any financial struggles with that?
No, I haven't faced any financial struggles, but one thing I can point out right here in this roundtable discussion that all of us, at one point or another, where our career choices interact and intersect, are that we all want to become content creators of some sort, right? You want to produce a news, you want to produce a magazine, you want to produce some sort of theater piece, maybe a show or something like that. Same thing for me, whether it be a website or an app or animated feature or something like that. You do the same thing, media, things like that. So I do believe that with content creators ourselves, that there's so much being populated nowadays. I mean, you can go on Twitter and there's thousands of vines or thousands of people who are in their backyards recording a 6-second whatever video, right? There's so many people being creative, and that thing's just ridiculously exploding right now. Anybody can create their own YouTube channel. Anybody can create their own Vine network or whatnot. And, when you spread and things online, if you produce a very interesting article, you might retweet that, and then may post it. Somebody may retweet it who has 1,000 followers. And that person who has 1,000 followers might know somebody who has 20,000 followers. That person who has 20,000 followers might have somebody who knows 500K. That 500K might know somebody who has 2 million or whatever. Not right. So the thing I feel with content creators is that you have just to find something very unique in your voice. You just have to find not the good thing about now this day and age in media is that we can now create something where you don't have to go to a studio to pitch something. You don't have to go to a magazine. You don't have to go to your theater trip and whatnot. We have the technology and the resources nowadays that are disposable to whoever is in this room. Anybody can create content nowadays. You don't have to go through all these pitch meetings or submit new ideas to bigger studios and things like that. Even right here in community TV in Santa Cruz, anybody can come in and join and create their own show and whatnot, right? So I think that's a very positive thing, and that's something for us to look forward to.
Yeah, I think the difference is though, like there's a difference between like creating something and then also like being profitable from your creations, because like the thing is, for most of us coming out of college or whatever, with whatever we're creating, for the most part, you're like not really expected to make money for a while. That's kind of just the thing. It's like you do what you want to do, but then you also have to have a regular 9-to-5 job to help you do those kinds of things. And it would be like, our end goal is just to make money from our creations. Like, that's why we went to college. That's why we've been spending money on like getting a degree, and like in a few years we'll be trying to get accepted to universities and whatnot, and that like scares me more than anything, just because I love being at Cabrillo because it's very like they kind of allow that creativity and they allow that like flexibility, but it seems like, I don't know, it's just really hard to like make it in this day and age doing what you want to do.
Unless you already have the money
Right.
starting out. If you're like some trust fund baby and you have the money to like rent cameras or get something published or get a studio space for something, unless you kind of start out with that pad, it's really tricky. Because like even if you did want to start a YouTube channel, like most people have access to phone cameras, but phone cameras aren't the greatest quality, and that is an aspect of how many viewers you get. And
That's not an aspect at all. At all. No, the best thing you can do for yourself is create good content. That's the exact opposite mentality that anybody should have going into creating their own thing. It's not whether good the equipment that you have or not. It's how good your content is, how good quality it is, and how you can do it. Think about the YouTubers back in our days. Think about, like Smosh or Freddie W or Shane Dawson and things like that. Things we grew up with. Those dudes started with like cheap freaking CVS cameras or stuff like that. They grew up with, cheap little cameras. And the thing people grew towards them was the content. That thing could be 360p and shot in a bedroom with no lighting. But as long as the content is good, people will pay attention to it and it will grow because it's coming from you and it's growing organically.
To be fair, though, with those content creators, I think they didn't really start off with that being a career choice for them. I think they mainly started off as it being a hobby and something they wanted to do to make people laugh. And so they had the time and the ability to actually make the content and grow it. And once they saw that it got popular, then they decided that they can make it a career choice. But for somebody who wants to make that into a career choice, you don't really have the time or the resources to grow it as you would with a hobby because you're trying to focus on that.
Do you? Do you really? When you want something so badly, and this is your career choice, this is what you're going to do with your time on this earth and your existence, do you not think you would make the time in order to do that outside of both work, school, and relationships? You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't put time and focus into your hobby in order for that to grow into your career.
I'm not saying you would, but it takes a while to get followers and to
Yes.
get people watching. And if you're using that as like your career, you're not going to have as much time to like focus on that.
Okay, so we're gonna cut our conversation. Thank you, you guys. But now we're gonna move on to some of the pieces that we've been working on in Rachel Goodman's writing for broadcast media. So we have some commercials and some commentaries, and we're gonna take a listen to those right now.
So I start off by smoking the entrance of the hive pretty gently. And then I'm going to open the lid and put that on the ground. So I just smoked the top a little bit, and then I'm going to take off the inner cover.
This is Max Friedman, an amateur beekeeper in Corralitos. He's been beekeeping since he was 11 years old and is now a freshman in high school. He started beekeeping because he was interested in helping the environment and helping preserve bees as a species, and he really loves his bees. But he's growing increasingly worried, because here on California's Central Coast, bee populations are dying out at a rapid rate. This is putting plants, both farmed and wild, at risk. Just in 2015, according to the Department of Agriculture, 42% of the managed bee colonies in the US were lost. The causes of their death isn't yet known, but it is most likely related to a combination of factors. One of the main ones being the decline of wild plant species on which bees depend on due to the drought. Max explained to me just how badly the drought is affecting bees.
The last couple of years have been pretty difficult for beekeepers because of the drought. There's been so little food for the bees, and we've had to feed our bees a lot in the drier seasons. Luckily this year there's been enough rain that they have enough food to harvest.
Why has there been a shortage of food for the bees?
Mainly because of the drought and also pesticides. People are really killing off those wildflowers the bees love. And also, the drought is causing so much dryness that many flowers can't grow.
Another cause is the Varroa destructor, a dangerous mite that has by far caused the most impact of any mite on bees and the beekeeping industry.
So bees are dying for several different reasons. One of the major ones is parasites, chiefly Varroa mites, which are a little bug that basically feeds off of a bee, and it really weakens a hive, the Varroa mites.
There are also many more factors, such as increasing urbanization, large-scale bee farming, a phenomenon called colony collapse disorder, where most if not all the worker bees in a colony disappear, leaving the hive to die, and the usage of pesticides called neonicotinoids that are dangerous and often deadly to bees. So why should we care? Because without bees, we wouldn't have the fruits and vegetables that line the stands and aisles of our supermarkets. Bees pollinate between 1 and 2/3 of the world's crops, including potatoes, apples, blueberries, cherries, onions, and broccoli. The death of bees threatens the entire global food supply. Additionally, bees are vital to pollinating wildflowers and plants, without which entire ecosystems are put at risk. Bees are vital to our environment, and without them, humanity would suffer a lot. Our food supply will become a lot smaller, and the variety of different fruits and vegetables we have would plummet. It's clear something has to be done. The solution involves multiple approaches. Farmers could use less bee-killing pesticides, and more laws could be passed to protect ecosystems where bees live and thrive. But the only things that everyday people can really do is plant more bee-friendly plants or take up beekeeping themselves. Both planting bee-friendly plants in yards and gardens and setting up hives in your own backyard can go a long way in helping bees thrive and find food for themselves.
So, I don't know if normal citizens can really change what pesticides farmers use, but I think that something that normal people can do is to plant more flowers, to raise awareness and to donate to causes that are really working to solve these issues.
This is Jesse Stashenko for Rachel Goodman's Cabrillo College broadcast writing class.
Do you have the broad beer, but not the lingo? With Brosetta Stone, you can not only look like one of the bros, you can sound like one too.
Hey dude, what's up, bro?
With 10 easy payments of $59.99, our easy-to-follow lesson plans will have you sounding like a bro in no time.
Do you even lift, bro? Bro, lifting is life. Yeah, bro. Shot, bro.
Rosetta Stone, making guys sound like douches since 2001.
How was I to know that man buns would be popular? Hi, this is Daniel. If you're like Daniel, you've always wanted a man bun, but it'll be years before you get one of your own. Well, think again. With this new product, you can get all the benefits of a man bun without any of the disadvantages. With the clip-on man bun, you can simply clip on the man bun. Within seconds, you'll have a man bun of your own and the girls will go wild.
Damn, Daniel.
No baldness, no messy cleanup, just clip on and bun on.
I'm 12 years old, in a dressing room trying on a strapless bra and uncomfortable dress for a family party. I wanted to wear something more comfortable, but agreed to come dress shopping after a relative said, "But what will the other girls think if they're all in pretty dresses and you're in jeans?" This wasn't the beginning of the invisible judges in my head, but it sure sticks out as some of the first proof that people would judge me harshly simply based on my appearance. Those outward judges are easier to identify and potentially avoid than the ones in my head that pipe up whenever I put on a snug t-shirt or add another action figure to my bookshelf. No one is going to take you seriously in a Captain America shirt. People don't say rad anymore, you sound stupid. Your arms are flabby, you can't wear a tank top. Time has made it easier to tell those invisible judges to shove it. I love my Star Trek bobbleheads and Spider-Man mug. They make me happy. I'm less likely to feel dumb being passionate about things. And who even are these judges that I'm so worried about anyway? Is someone actually to come up and yell at me because they don't like how I look? If I'm a good person, why should it matter if my tummy isn't flat? I haven't reached self-consciousness enlightenment. As much as I try not to let them get to me, the invisible judges are hard to entirely ignore. I can't remember how many times I've gotten dressed only to look in the mirror and decide to completely redo my outfit. Or the fear that if I bring a date home, they'll laugh at my Star Wars posters and dump me because they think I'm childish. But on the days that the judges are quiet, when the self-depreciating noise inside my head fades, I leave the house in a skirt covered in galaxies, dinosaur earrings dangling from my ears. On those days, I don't care what anyone else thinks.
Sunday. This Sunday, Underground Cage Fighting presents our biggest matchup yet. We found a lobster man. You should see the claws on this thing. Man, he looks sad. And a Bengal tiger? Where did we find this? The black market. Where else? Tickets are selling fast, and we are gaining unwanted attention from the law. We will plead the fifth. Watch the fight you never thought you wanted to see.
The Watsonville Wetlands Watch, located at the Fitz Wetlands Educational Resource Center on the campus of Pajaro Valley High School, is a nonprofit organization that advocates for wetlands issues. The Wetlands Watch has a program called the Wetland Stewards. It is an experimental program where young adult volunteers teach young students from elementary to middle school about the wetlands. The stewards are interns for the wetlands, and they are guided by wetlands educational staff. They are trained indoor and outdoor. Darren Gertler is an environmental educator at the Wetlands Watch. He led the group of stewards at Pino Lake as they released rainbow trout.
A chance to release a trout. So, a couple things to know about releasing your trout. These baby trout are going to live a lot longer if they find plants to hide in. So I recommend releasing them on this side. Also, a lot of these ducks and birds that we see right now, they eat plants, they're vegetarians. So I'm thinking our rainbow trout just might make it.
Here at Pino Lake, the stewards would get educated by Pat McQuaid, who operates and manages the park.
You've got coots in the wetlands, but do you know them? Those are the black ones with the white beaks, and they spend the winter in Michoacan, and they spend the summer in Canada. So they're on their way to Canada right now, and I had several hundred of them here, and they were just resting up for the trip farther north, and then on their way to Michoacan, and that's their winter home. And so we feel like that's a good thing to tell kids because a lot of our residents can relate to Michoacan.
The stewards will use this knowledge obtained by this trip later to educate elementary and middle school students. I asked fellow steward Ludia Garcia why she decided to become part of the Wetland Stewards program.
Last year I did a class at Pajaro Valley High School called Watch, and I did like a project like on I did like scientific research at Elkhorn Slough, and that kind of like opened me up to being interested in environmental science.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like me trying to get more involved in something that I learned about last year and trying to advocate for environmental conservation and stuff like that, starting at like I think the bottom, which is like with the children, so that they grow up to be like stakeholders for the environment, and potentially that could make a big change in their generation when they're older.
The Watsonville Wetlands Watch is working hard to use their steward interns, who are mentors who are working towards pursuing and inspiring the conservation of the wetlands. With their help, we can hopefully succeed in the spread of education of the wetlands.
Once again, thank you for watching, and if you have any interest in broadcast media, I encourage you to check out Rachel Goodman's Writing for the Broadcast Media class. Once again, I'm Denise Torres, and thanks.